Palworld, man. That's
finally Palworld's getting sued by Nintendo. I was wondering when that was going to happen.
I was like, what the fuck? This is such a
everybody's been wondering when the hell that was going to happen.
Gotta sue them all.
That's pretty funny.
Palworld.
Mostly due to the design of the pals. Let's not beat around the bush here. They look like Pokemon. Some of them really.
So already one thing incorrect. He said, I don't know what he let off with, but he said mostly due to the pals. That is actually not what they're going to get sued for. No, which is what everyone thought they would get sued for, but it's not.
No, it's what I was saying, what we were saying offline. Like, I think it has more to do with the actual quote unquote catching device, aka the ball that's used, because that's really synonymous with Pokemon and Pokeballs, right? Because you can't. This is all parody art. Like, I mean, no matter what, if you want to say it's similar, okay, it's similar. Like, so it's somebody's own interpretation. It's not an exact ripoff, and therefore that would fall under parody or someone's own art, whatever. Like, you don't own the licenses to say, I'm the only person that could make a weird-looking fox or dog in a fantasy world. Like, you can't.
They also don't have
shit.
anything regarding their character's design in their patents, so it wouldn't matter to begin with, and. They do have the mechanic of the their throwing of their Pokeball.
It would be a lot of trademarks if they had to fucking trademark every Pokemon name.
They do have the mechanic of the Pokeball throw and catch patent, though. That is 100% a thing that they have. Yeah. And so you are probably right, and that's probably exactly what's going to happen. And I have a feeling that they're going to lose. Because they absolutely used that.
I mean, look, it could also be quietly settled too, right? I mean, if Pokemon sends over, some sort of illegal implication, and this game is still in beta, like we were talking about, all I'd have to do is go back and change the catching mechanism. You know, I'm not saying that's not a lot of work. I'm just saying they could still do that.
Well, I can't imagine that. I figure one of Palworld's big investments early on was legal. Was a legal team or a lawyer just to look into Pokemon, because they knew what they were doing. They knew that they were crossing lines. They knew Nintendo was sue happy. They knew all of these things. And I'm just wondering if Palworld has something up their sleeve where it's like, actually, we didn't infringe upon that patent and copyright. This is how we got around it. Because I imagine they read the patents they had someone read all the patent information that.
Or they had ChatGPT read the patents to them.
If they did that, they made a huge mistake, and they're going to lose. But I just have this weird feeling that they have something up their sleeve, that they knew about this the entire time, and Pokemon's kind of coming at something that they already have a plan for. So I'm curious to see what happens there, because that might be the case. Palworld might have something sticky up their sleeves.
Really look like Pokemon. This started to lead to a lot of different accusations. Some people claim that the studio was just ripping models from old Pokemon games, which was not true. I don't think, at least. Other people said that they were using AI to create the designs, which probably wasn't true. But either way, this was, David versus Goliath. Pokemon, the largest media franchise in the world, up against an indie team. I've always felt.
Yeah, some of those characters were so close, though. You can't act like they weren't straight up pretty much ripped from Pokemon. It was Pokemon with guns. Like, everyone was calling it Pokemon with guns. They knew what they were doing. Like, they literally made spoof character versions of Pokemon.
I watched somebody say, like, if you took Star Wars' net worth plus like 2 other franchises, it still doesn't like one of the larger, like the 3 biggest like franchises. It still doesn't equal the amount of money Pokemon is actually worth. They're the biggest fucking thing ever. They're the biggest thing as far as in any fucking facet in the world from a media and entertainment company. It's crazy.
Well, it's not like Palworld was gonna go under their radar or anything like that.
Yeah, well,
there's
Nintendo,
no way that was
like you
gonna
brought
happen.
it up earlier. I mean, Nintendo's suing right now. They just took down like one of the biggest emulation sites. I've been watching videos on that.
They
go
took
after
down
everybody.
everyone, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so what you can do with both audio and animation, I would assume animation, I would only know audio for the audio end, is encrypting things with metadata that tracks where it goes, and I'm pretty sure they're using software and AI to find half of these things that they're claiming lawsuits on. But I'm also pretty certain they have a full office of people just looking for copyright claims.
I'm very happy that I made sure to take the time years ago to download every Super Nintendo game and Game Boy Advance game, and I have them on a ROM on my Nintendo Wii, so I can never lose them on a SD card.
Good call. You know what this lawsuit's making me want to do? Play Palworld.
Play Palworld?
Yep.
You got into it for a little bit there.
You know, it's a fun, relaxing game. It's limited, like, as far as your end goal.
Right.
Because, like, you know what they can't say is gotta catch them all. Because that's kind of the end goal. Dude, it's Pokemon with guns. And, like, here's the whole thing. The conversation around the game was it was a fun-ass game. Like, and Pokemon wasn't putting out anything like it, and people wanted something like it. So, like, people just don't give a shit. They just played it anyways, no matter how much it copied Pokemon. And they were just calling it Pokemon with guns. They knew it was made by a company that was not Nintendo. They gave no shits. They played it because it's fun.
Yeah, they could just say Palworld, make pals with all. I don't know, try that. They do that.
Yeah. Oh, so speaking of, you see this today's Pal Deck thing right here?
Yeah.
At the top of this. I did hear that may be another thing that they could possibly get sued for, because apparently there is a patent on the way Pokemon, the game mechanic in which that you have the, what do you call it in Pokemon? Your deck of cards that you have that keeps track of, like, every time you've seen each Pokemon, every time
your Pokedex.
Your Pokedex, yeah. And Pokedex and Paldex. So apparently they did have a patent on the mechanic of the whole Pokedex thing, and there are some people that speculate saying that they could also come after him for the whole Paldex.
Yeah, that's I don't know. Let's see, because that's open for interpretation, right? Because, like, there's been tons of games where, like, we have where, like, you just go into the game and it journals it for you and tells you, like, what these things are. So I don't know. That's a little iffy.
It just might be too close, especially calling it Paldeck.
That's probably why, yeah.
Because they can think about it in court when you're talking to a judge and Palworld tries to go, no, we didn't have the Paldeck wasn't inspired by the Pokédeck. The judge is gonna look at him like, dude, come on.
Like, right, well, their argument's gonna be, excuse me, sir, it's not Pokédeck, it's Pokédex. So that's Pokédex. Ours is Paldeck. It's different. It's different.
Yeah, when you have to look a judge in the face that's a human being, I mean, just like the two of us, you can look at him like, Palworld was fun, but
there goes na 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 na. Ours goes ding 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 ding. That's essentially what it is.
Na na na, and ours goes ding ding ding.
Yeah, exactly.
Na 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 na. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, could you imagine me making a sound that went ding, 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 ding?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could get away with
Matt,
it.
you could just go to your people and be like, hey.
I mean, you could get away with it, because I've made some videos where
It's like, no.
I made some videos where it was just me, and, like, I layered my voice, and it was
yeah.
Wow, 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 right? Like, I did something like that.
Yeah.
But, like, that's different than, like, musical instrument, like me fucking dun 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 dun. Big old fucking organs. Wah, wah, wah.
Well, and it also depends is how recognizable is it? I mean, from a sound design perspective, if I did the ding 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 ding, it's probably gonna annoy somebody. But did it with a different sound, obviously everyone would recognize that. And I have to say, probably from a sound design standpoint, that sound, I want to look into that. Can you find more about that for me, Matt? Because that might be one of the most iconic sounds ever made.
Or you could find out about it, Jeremy.
I could.
Yeah, you could.
I will. I'm gonna do the research on that sound, because that is probably the most iconic sound.
Dude, there's
like,
the sports
maybe
center,
in sound design history.
that Sports Center
sound.
theme, like they're the dun na 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 na.
Mm-hmm.
It's so simple. Dun, 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 dun. It's so.
It is
simple.
the most unmistakable thing, though, too.
Yeah.
It's so unmistakable. If you heard that from down the hall in any building, you'd be like, I know what that person's watching. All right? Yeah. Immediately. Anyways, back to Palworld getting the shit suit out of them.
That the controversy was overblown. If this game wasn't a massive success, if it wasn't played by millions and millions of people, it wouldn't have gotten this much scrutiny. People wouldn't have turned it into a Pokemon versus Palworld thing. I think a lot of it was timing. The last Pokemon games that released were just kind of not great around that time. As a fan of Pokemon, I think any competition to the franchise is a great thing. Nintendo did not agree. No, they just sued them.
Dude, of course Nintendo didn't agree.
Yeah, like I would say, like
yeah, that's it right there. They're going for him. Oh, of course Nintendo didn't agree. Do you have any idea how greedy Nintendo is?
Like I would say
I'm probably
right.
gonna get sued for saying that.
Like I haven't opened it. I still have a copy of Pokemon Scarlet that I got, but I haven't even opened it because I was like, I'm just gonna save it because I played Violet. Scoop let me borrow Violet, so I played that, and I was, I'm like, okay, well maybe I'll just keep it closed. But the last Pokemon game, like this Palworld game, it really reminds me more of Pokemon Legend Arceus. Like all you do is just catch Pokemon, and that's really the point of the game, and you're building your town kind of thing, right? Bringing the town together with Pokemon. So it's like that's what Palworld, and that's what I feel like he's more referring to, So like I would say, like, yes, Scarlet, while Scarlet Violet definitely received some baggage. A lot of people said since the updates it has gotten better, but it still has, I think what the biggest complaint people still have about the game is it still feels very empty. It's like, yeah, it's open world and you can go these towns, but like it still feels very empty.
Well, there's only so much you can do with those systems. They're kind of held back by that. I mean, Palworld was being released on Xbox.
Yeah, we'll see what happens when the Switch 2 comes out in the next 6 months.
Yeah, no, I'm sure Nintendo has massive things planned for the Pokemon IP as far as, and I bet that's part of this lawsuit. They're gonna, you don't think they're gonna put out a 1-to-1 of Palworld, but with Pokemon, seeing the response that Palworld got and be like, okay, we're just gonna sue you. We're gonna take our own shit back and we're gonna remake the shit with the real characters, and people are gonna love it. I would love that. That would be fucking without the guns if they just made it. You know what I'm saying? Because Palworld was so well made. Like if they did Pokemon that way, it would be sick.
Right now, it is announced the next game is Pokemon. They're doing the next Arceus game, Pokemon Legend, or Pokemon Legends. It's going to be Z-A or ZA, and it's supposed to be rumored about like the third iteration, or at least part of the X and Y generation. I didn't play Pokemon during Pokemon X and Y, but it's supposed to be part of that. And then there's also a rumor that technically that generation was linked to Kanto, which is the original generation, that being A, so Z to A could technically have something to be linked with that. And it's supposed to take place though in like mostly a city is what it's saying. It's supposed to be an open world Pokemon city, and having to have Pokemon and people coexist kind of shit. But there obviously could still be, outlying regions of, grass and farmlands and beaches and shit like that,
Well, which is actually kind of Pokemon's thing. So I would hope that they wouldn't just jam the whole thing into a city. Which they could make it work if they made it like layered,
Well, in the Legends game, it's not about traveling city to city and like catching and like battling to like battle for gyms. In the Legends game, it's just about catching all of the Pokemon for like documentation and like information. So it's like it's a little different style of a game, which is why it hits so well with people, because people are like, oh, this is finally fresh. Like I don't have to worry about battling and training and blah blah blah. I can just
That's the thing
Pokemon.
is, they have not released like the actual Pokemon yet, though. Is the thing. I feel like you're talking about this as an adult, ridiculous. But they haven't, since we've been children and we're playing Pokemon, they still have not and refused to release just the game that they created or the world that they created in a game. Like they can't
the original
just
generation.
Just what the IP that they had created with Pokemon and the entire idea of catching Pokemon in the wild, they refused to and have yet to make a game that's actually like you out in the wild catching Pokemon and trying to catch all of the Pokemon, going through the entire process, breeding included, all the other stuff.
They started in the last game. That's what I was saying. They kind of started moving forward with that, like because that's what Arceus is. Pokemon Legends Arceus. Yeah. You just go out into the wild and you're just catching every Pokemon, and instead of gyms, you fight like quote unquote possessed Pokemon. So you're still fighting powerful Pokemon, but it's not like like a boss battle or whatever. Yeah. So you're not like actually trying to collect badges or anything. There's other things you collect saying, oh, you beat this and you helped us clear this area kind of shit. But mostly it's about catching Pokemon. But you're right. They've introduced in Pokemon games breeding over the years. They have done a lot of the things you're talking about in like the 2D aspect. But those, of course, as you said, are restricted, right? So like we need like an open world 3D RPG Pokemon that we have yet to receive, other than like Arceus and now Violet, which they've tried. But as I mentioned, the Scarlet Violet, while that is an open world RPG with no loading screens or any of that bullshit, it's still not complete. You can't go into buildings and cities. It's very it's very empty. And at the time, of course, of release, there was a lot of glitches, and there might still be glitches now. And that could, of course, be to the performance and power of the Nintendo Switch processor there as well.
That's what I do. I do look forward to seeing with the new system how they managed to recreate that, because basically what they left themselves vulnerable to Palworld is what happened. I'd like, dude.
Oh, for a company to swoop in and do something better. Yeah.
It was just so easy.
Yeah,
it was just
that's a good point.
Easy, because there was just such an obvious idea that it's just, okay, put us out in the open world in a big thing where we build our own little base and we catch our own Pokemon and we have our farm. The whole animal slavery thing maybe went a little bit, the guns and the animal slavery thing went a little bit too far, but I would really, could you imagine if, I think it's a good idea for Pokemon to just 1-to-1 Palworld and just be like, you never deserved to make this game to begin with. Copying our IP. They could make an almost identical game in the Pokemon world, and people would absolutely love it, and nobody would be like, oh, they copied Palworld. Nobody's going to say that.
No, it'd be like,
obviously.
What they would ideally want to do probably is they'd want to do like a combination of the open world aspect of Pokemon and bring it together with like their other big franchise, Animal Crossing, where you just build your town and your city and you make friends and stuff like that. So it would be like idea. That would be like the style that they should introduce if they wanted to do it. Yeah, because then
that's brilliant, actually. Has anyone brought that up to them yet?
Someone watches this stream, go ahead and bring it up.
Yeah,
because you're right.
Nintendo, go tell them, like Animal Crossing style, where you basically have your little island, but you can invite people to it. Saves processing and all that stuff. All you have to do is have that little open world.
And then you gotta travel to other islands to catch other Pokemon, other styles and stuff like that. That'd be cool. Yeah.
We don't even need that like full 3D open world vibe. You could totally do it Animal Crossing style, where it's kind of. What do you call that? That's 2D, but it's still like 3D.
It's 2.5D is what they call it.
Is it? Okay, I was wondering if they had some kind of like name for it, because it's like a combination of 2 and
2D on like rendered 3D backgrounds and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. I've never really played Animal Crossing other than on the.
I know you sent it to me for free, and I played the shit out of it. Yeah. Because you got it for your daughter, right? And
I was gonna say we already had it.
Yeah, you already had it. So you just sent it to me. I played it for a while, and then I haven't played it like a year now. But like, I did play the crap out of it. So basically, I beat it till you get to the end of your story, and then there was some DLC which I never picked back up and play. And now sometimes I think about playing it, but then like I know as soon as I turn on the game, the very first thing that happens when you turn on the game is one of the characters is gonna be like, oh, hi, Matt. We haven't seen you in X amount of days. And I really don't want to see that amount of days that I haven't been on the game and feel guilt tripped by a video game for not checking in on the town.
Yeah, your town has burnt to the ground.
Everyone moved away.
The economy has completely collapsed. They've gone into a Great Depression. Your little buddy Moo Moo, your cow friend over there that's oh so sweet, he ran out of milk. It's just like
everyone moved away. They all left.
Yeah.
They all disappeared. But yeah, no, I do agree with you that like in the end, I think this Power World will help make better Pokemon games, because by leaving themselves open to be susceptible to like another company coming along and making a similar game and doing it better with higher fidelity, or making it more fan friendly to what fans want and more fun and interactive like that, that definitely has to like set off some alarms at the Pokemon company to be like, whoa, we got to make sure that the next Pokemon game that we actually put out is good, that has no problems, and that is going to hit well with the fan base that's going to continue to buy millions of units. Like when Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came out, I think they sold like 10 million units in like the first couple weeks or something like that, which is ridiculous. So like Pokemon games just hit, they sell.
Yeah, and they haven't done the one yet, so we'll see what happens with that. But in the meantime, Nintendo will pretty much sue
everybody,
absolutely anyone. I mean, they'd sell a 6-year-old for making a Mario sculpture in his art class. So,
dude, like they and and this isn't a shot at like any other companies, but some companies like do that for like everything, right? Whether it be like plays or like shows or movies. This is not licensed by etc. ABCD company, just like Nintendo from Warner Brothers to Sony or etc. Right? Like their IPs, they're all trying to protect it like that.
Like that guy probably got sued right there.
Maybe, I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? The Mario costume.
No, I get it. I just don't. If he bought it from them, then as long as he's
that's the point. But if he's accepting money for autographs or something, Nintendo's coming after him.
I guess.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's all the news is Nintendo suing the shit out of people and the diddling. But we know that's what the diddler does. I'm gonna get Mario off the screen before we get sued by Nintendo.